Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, outreach of Greater Worship Christian Church here in Lancaster, California. I am your host, Robert Enos, along with Chippy the Chipmunk.
Oh, my adoring fans.
Get ready for a huge dose of reality and a huge dose of common sense.
You said it, brother.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I have yet another phenomenal guest sitting at the table with me. This is Erika Alverdi. Say hello, Miss Erika.
Hello, everyone. It's good to not see you, but it's good to be able to talk to you guys today. I'm really excited.
Well, you said, or you almost said it's good to see you. And what's so interesting about being at a place like this, by the way, we're still here at now Generations Coffee. Used to be Butler's Coffee. You know, Butler's had the world's greatest coffee. And now Generations has the world's greatest coffee.
Right.
So come on down, Palmdale, 10th Street West, across the street from the Walmart. Anybody lives in this area, you know where that is. Phenomenal coffee, phenomenal people. Come on out and support them. But when you said, you almost said it's good to see all of you, it's easy to make, I'm not even going to say a mistake, but say that because it feels like you can see them. And they will feel like they can even see us because now they've been brought into our conversation. So that's actually awesome.
Very cool.
Yes. So Erika, I'm going to ask you about the Vine Refuge. Erika is the head of, and you guys founded that. You founded it,
yes.
Right? Okay. So she's going to have a chance to talk about that, of course, in just a minute. I want you all to hear about what she does there and it's been successful, what I've seen, very successful. And she also ran for Palmdale City Council, 5th District. I know, it's weird. Our little Palmdale is broken up into all these districts, so she ran for 5th District. And in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I'm not on the I'm not on the inside, so I don't know this for a fact. Again, this is my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. That was robbed. That was... You were robbed in that. You that was stolen from you, and
that's my opinion too.
Yeah, well, you were the only one out there doing anything. The lady that won, we spoke about her in our podcast with Mike Ross and Carol Ross and Rich Gallego. She did nothing, and she won. That was Andrea Alarcon. And so when you run and you win an election and nobody even knows who you are and you're not campaigning, what's that going to make everybody believe? Right. You know, you were out there, you were doing the work, and so you're going to get there, and you're really going to get there. But before we get into all that stuff, the Vine Refuge. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a hard time remembering the Vine Refuge and you say Divine Refuge, I was thinking that leading up to, before I pushed the record button, it's the Vine Refuge, but it's also divine.
It sure is.
So tell us a little bit about the Vine Refuge. What is it? What's going on with you? Well, share with everybody.
No, I love that I get to do this today because I don't think I've talked about the Vine Refuge publicly in about 2 years. And so because the pandemic really, took a toll and I just wasn't going live. I was concentrating on other things during that time, but this is great timing. So the Vine Refuge was formed in June 2009, so that's 14 years ago. Wow. And the part that I love to talk about is how I was the most unqualified person for this because I was only, this is a faith-based organization, so we do believe in Christ, and we try our very best to do things by the kingdom of heaven. And I had only been saved maybe 4 months when this got brought to me. I didn't even know what the foster system was, but what we do, who we focus on is our single moms or parents who are losing their children to the foster care system, those who have lost their children to the system because of of things that the family was broken. We try and reunify them through the court system. And if they're at risk of losing them, we try to keep them unified, however that looks like. So if it is a drug problem or if it's a neglect problem, we talk to the family, we mentor the family, we go through the process, the courts tell us what we need to do, and we just keep them accountable. And we do that, and by us doing that, it keeps them accountable, and the judge sees that they cared enough to get some help outside of the court system. And it's not an easy process, but it gets done. In the last 14 years. We've reunified quite a bit of families, and that is because we really focus on one family at a time. The Lord had us to really pour ourselves into that one family and do what we need to do, and it works that way. And so we're not like a Valley Oasis per se. So we're not a huge foundation, but we are huge in what we do. We have a lot of passion in what we do. We have the great backing. We have our church. I go to Greater Works Christian Church, and they've known us for a long time. Before I even went to their church, they were speaking at our events. They were, if I was in the hospital, they were there praying for me. So we've always had an amazing connection. Again, the Vine Refuge is actually named after John 15:5. I am the vine, you are the branches, and it's those that stay connected to the vine that we're able to do such work, right? So the connections we have in the community are very powerful, and we have great supporters. But since the pandemic, I don't know what happened, to be honest. I guess that's when True Hearts were revealed, and we lost so much of the support of our community, and it was because of the campaigning. Because I started campaigning in 2020 for a school board position, and in that time, all of a sudden I had enemies I didn't even know about, and it was all because of my belief system and why I was running, and I was actually highlighting the injustices of what I saw. I worked at the West Side School District for 6 years in the special needs department, and I got to see a lot. I got to see too much, I think. And so that affected the Vine Refuge supporters, and so we lost a lot of our support. But the ones that are still supporting us today, 3 years later, are the ones that I know are immovable no matter what my personal life looks like. And then I campaigned again last year for the city council position, and a lot of hearts were revealed at that time too. And it was heart-wrenching, and it did affect me a lot because we are relational, relationships affect, right? But thank God I have people that support me, not only my pastors, but my mentor, who is also my pastor, Linda Enos, who I love very much. But because I have her to mentor me during that time, I was able to get through that because it was very hard to see the amount of rejection that I received during that time. And again, because of that, it affected the Vine Refuge, and it affected a lot of what we do. But what it did not affect is the participants of the Vine Refuge. They still got what they needed. We still were able to be there for them. We were still a support system for them. And here we are, 2023. Still doing what we do 14 years later. By the way, we've never received a grant. We've never borrowed money from the city. We've never taken money from the city or any other place. The Lord had that put. I was one of the very first things He revealed to me, that it was going to be community funded. Yeah. And every time I have gone on live and asked for community help, they've answered. And so that's a huge testimony, and that is the reason why I love my community, and I wanted to make sure that I was part of the solution. When I saw running in 2022 for the city council position, I'm not going to lie to you, I knew nothing about my city other than the brokenness, because that's where I worked. That's where I was in the trenches with these people. But when I did find out about all the corruption that was happening, and I was asked, and not only was I asked, the only position that was open was for a district that didn't exist before, and it happened to be where I lived. I was the only one in the group that I was in that was interested in having a candidate that could run. And so I ran, right? And again, when I was called to the Vine Refuge, I was unqualified. And here we are 14 years later. A lot of people were against me because I was unqualified for that position. But that was kind of the last thing that bothered me, because I had already done that and trusted God to do it through me. Well, I believe the biggest part that was bothering me is that the people that said they were supporting, and no matter what you do, and we just love you, and they were no longer there. And so that was a huge distraction. And I say that not to glorify the enemy, but just so you guys can understand that that community matters. Community matters, and if anybody is going to be there for you, you're hoping it's your community, right? So when your community that you're trying to help turns on you, it really does affect. But the person who did win, now looking it's going to be a year in November. She hasn't won any hearts.
Right.
She's just digging deeper into the corruption, and what she doesn't understand is that the person who ran against her, is in her district, and so her work is affecting my household.
Right.
And that angers me.
Yeah.
Because I still drive around. When I was doing my campaigning and finding out where the help is needed, I'm looking around, and a year later, after all the promises she gave, it looks exactly the same. And let me tell you why that is, because she's thinking she's doing all of this help through these organizations that are helping the community, but it's really, they're just enabling the community to stay the same.
Yeah.
And so when you're enabling and supporting these organizations that is helping the community stay the same, we're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
It's so weird how people don't see that, but she's an enabler, and I'm not. And even in the organization I work for, there is nothing that these women receive that they don't have to somehow sew back. And so that is what she doesn't understand. She's just winning the hearts of those who see her as a tool, and they're using her, and everything is backfiring on her. Why? Because the purpose of her position is to move people forward, not to keep them where they're at. And so, well, that's my 2 cents right on that.
No, you're absolutely right. When Ronald Reagan ran for president against Jimmy Carter, many has said that he won that election based upon one question when they were in a debate. And he asked everybody, is your life better today after 4 years of Jimmy Carter, or is it worse? And at that point, with inflation and the gas crunches and all that, I remember that as a little kid, people are saying, well, it's much worse. Then the obvious is, then why would you vote for that again? And I have to totally agree with you. I've been seeing this. We were out there with you, campaigning and doing what we could do. And ladies and gentlemen, when I say I believe, now this is my opinion, I believe it was robbed from Erika. She should have won that because she was the only one out there campaigning. There was a few signs up from other people, but when I say she had signs up, but she had live, what we would do this like Friday evenings, Friday nights, and go down on the Palmdale Boulevard and wave flags and banners and have music, and there was food trucks and people out there waving to the people driving by with her signs and everything. She was the only one getting her name out there in an actual come by, shake my hand kind of way. The only one. And she lost to that? Come on. There's something really corrupt going on here and something crazy. And so all these empty promises from the other side that still are not being fulfilled on any real level, but yet what it really boils down to is she made promises to people of large sums of money. I'm going to give you this. I'll make sure you get that. I make sure you get this. And we know this because those people keep showing up at the city council meetings
asking for that money.
Mm-hmm. Well, you promised, you said this, and it's really strange how this woman, Andrea Alarcon, got elected in the first place. But it should be by now obvious that it was not the best choice. Erika, you're still the best choice. So you better be running again. That's all I can say. You better run again and better be ready, because who knows, there just might be some type of interaction that removes her and puts you in there anyways. But let me ask you this, because you have the Vine Refuge and you're helping many, many, many people. And I can attest to this. This isn't just somebody coming here and talk about what they do or trying to paint this picture. I actually know some of the young ladies that Erika's been able to help, and help she has. Lives have been restored because of the Vine Refuge and the work that Erika does. And I think I already know the answer to my question, but I want everybody else to hear. What can you bring to the table? Let's say the elections are tomorrow, and you're running. What can you promise everybody? What can you bring to the table? What sets you apart from other people?
My faith is the first thing I have to give glory to God for.
Amen.
Because knowing that I could do something that it takes people degrees to do, I would never be able to say that on my own. And so knowing that if God put me in that position, he's going to get it done.
Right.
And then I'm very familiar with the community. I've been through abuse. I've been through, I suffered homelessness a couple of times, addictions. I'm very familiar with the Hispanic community. Our District 5 is mostly Hispanic, and they're married. A lot of them are married to truck drivers. A lot of them are married to men who are gone most of the day. So I can relate. I'm very relatable. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. I'm very relatable to the lives of the families in District 5. And when you're relatable, people trust you. And if people trust you, then you feel more comfortable doing what you do. And I actually care about how things look. Like District 5, you drive down a lot of, well, all of it, I hate to say it, all of District 5, and it is a disaster. It looks like a slum.
Yeah.
And I don't see culture. When I see what I see, I don't see because there's a certain culture that lives there. I don't see it like that.
Right.
I see that there's no hope.
Yeah.
And so hopelessness brings filthiness. And that's exactly what I see. I don't see culture like most people do. They're stuck on culture. And though I am Hispanic and I relate to the Hispanic community and I relate to a lot of what we go through, and even the Black community that lives there, I can still relate to that because we're people.
Right.
Right? But in all of that is that I can bring hope. I can bring hope because it's not coming from me. The resources that I would help bring, they don't come from me. I know they come from God. They come from His resources, and so I can't argue with that. And I don't see it. I don't see that there is no hope. But I also understand that those that are over our city, they're speaking curses. They speak bad. They speak on what they see, and because they speak on what they see, especially her, I've heard her. Just bringing these people that are going to enable our community, just by that action alone, speaks highly of how she thinks about us, because I live there. Right.
Right.
And she thinks very little of District 5 while she goes and drives her fancy car to her fancy house.
Right.
And so for her is just a little step that she's using to get to a higher position, because she did lose her high position back years ago when she was helping run the city of Los Angeles. And she's just trying to regain that. And I don't have any strings attached to my district. I don't have that. I'm not trying to get higher than anything. All I want is for a solution, a strategy to be formed and actually get it done. And that's, I may not have the qualifications that most people think I need, but because I know strategy and I know how to execute it, I know that I'll be a good candidate for that seat.
Absolutely. So, because again, I'm going to ask you a dumb question. I think I already know the answer to this to some degree, just by knowing you and seeing what you've done with the Vine Refuge, and that what you've been doing in your ministry, in your life. I call it a ministry because that's exactly what it is. But how everything that you've learned with the Vine Refuge and helping the people that you've been able to help, that have come through your program and such, how does that, how can you use what you've learned there to help your district? If you're in District 5 right now, what you've learned with the Vine Refuge, what can you do? How can you apply all of that to District 5 in Palmdale?
So what I personally do in the Vine Refuge is I am a mentor, and a lot of people don't really understand. They just think counseling. A counselor keeps people, or a therapist or a counselor, they're trying to get people to look back in their past and heal from it. Mm-hmm. Where a mentor tells you, don't look back and let's move forward. Right? And so because I have that experience for many, many years, over a decade, I can do that with the city. And how? Because I happen to be sitting on, because I would happen to be sitting on the diocese, on the city council, I would be a mentor to our community. And how can I be a mentor to the community? Well, I get them to look forward, to move forward. Forget what happened, forget where we have been, let's move forward. Forget the pandemic. Forget that all that happened, and let's move forward. You're not stuck there. And so I just believe that mentoring, that's the biggest takeaway, I believe. And knowing that the God of Jacob, the God of Moses, is the same God that we serve today. And he's the same God that performed those miracles then, is the same God that's performing the miracles here. And so because I believe that, those are the things that I learned from the Vine Refuge that I can bring to the city council, to my district. Absolutely. And also being, but also being a mentor and to my colleagues, because there's so much division within themselves that no one's mentoring each other. No one is, hey, we got this. There is it's all backstabbing nonsense. Yeah. And it's all because we're not all on the same page. And just by being on the city council, I understand, because of what I see with my physical eyes, that you don't all have to be in agreement with everything, but in your disagreements, agree and move forward. Right. Find a strategy. And so that's where I think that they're shooting themselves in the foot.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Like I said, that position was robbed from you. You would have made you will make a phenomenal, just not candidate, but you will do a great job on that seat. Because we're seeing, as we're talking even now, that the job's not getting done.
No.
But I hate to do this. We have to wrap this up, because Natalie Paints, ladies and gentlemen, you can look her up. Natalie Paints is taking over the coffee shop. She does this every Friday, and for good cause. She teaches a painting class. But I wanted to get Erika on here to introduce her, and we will have her back on here again very, very, very soon, because I want all of you to also hear how you can support Erika Alverdi and the Vine Refuge. And we'll talk about that more, but I will have a link in the description for this particular episode where you can contact her and get more information.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, and
This
I
was
appreciate
awesome.
you totally last minute.
Totally.
But we're going to do this again real soon.
Okay.
God bless you all.
Thank you for choosing Table Flippers Podcast. To find our merchandise page, go to gwcclancaster.org. Then find the Table Flippers link, click on it, and it'll take you right there. Until next time, have a fantastic day. Say goodbye, Chippy.
Goodbye!